Welcome back to Same Right Fashion Academy YouTube channel once again for this interesting tutorial. So today's tutorial will be learning how to make this beautiful collar placket on a BUBU gown. Okay, so this is the result of what we are going to sew in this tutorial today. So if this is really what you want to learn, okay, just as we have it on the thumbnail right there, I will encourage you to stay till the end of this tutorial, okay? So you'll be able to learn how to make this beautiful placket very beautifully, okay? All right, so stay tuned till the end of the tutorial. Thank you. All right, so now we are done cutting. So I want to show you what we have for the front. So this is the front neckline. You can see how it's looking. So I went ahead and hair stayed because we are going to work on the collar right now. I used my hair stay on top of it to stabilize it. So you can see the hair stay right all over the places. So make sure you hair stay. Then this is my back neckline, as you can see, the one we cut first. And I also hair stayed. Okay, so that's the first thing we are going to do. So the next we want to do is to go over to the machine. So I'm going to the machine now. I'm going to merge seam line to seam line. From one end of seam line, I'll sew to the end. Okay, I'm sewing right on the sleeve from one end. I'll pick up the other neckline. I'll also sew right from the neckline. So I'll stitch now, iron it down, bring it back to show you how to sew the collar. I'm done sewing the necklines. As you can see, I've joined them together. This is our back, this is the front. So the next we want to do is to take the measurement of this neckline. We are taking this measurement right from this point. So you can see me placing my tape. So this is where we are going to sew the collar. So you have to take the collar measurement. So you can see how I'm doing that. So you can see I'm stretching my fabric to get this measurement accurately. So I stopped back on this point and I got 26.5. So my collar right now, this is my collar. I got 26.5 for the collar length. The width of the collar is 3 inches. Okay, 3 inches. By the time we sew half an inch, we'll be having that 2.5 inch, which we used to draft. Okay, remember the 2.5, we folded it when we were drafting. So now the length of the collar is 26.5, but you are not going to measure 26.5. This is my 26.5. Okay, so let me measure it again from here. This is supposed to be my 26.5, but I'm going to add 2 more inches to it in case you have some shortage. It's possible maybe you did not measure well. So you can see I have much more excess. Okay, so before I even cut, this is what I'm going to do. Note that this collar is on fold, okay, before you have 3.5. So I'll just go in with the whole length that is excess because I don't want any shortage at all. So I come back with my neckline. I'll be going over to my machine now to sew my neckline. So I'm sewing my neckline right. I'll start from here. So by the time we bring it back, it comes this way. So I'm going to place my neckline. Okay, so it depends on where. So another thing I want to say, I have this collar. I have it hair stayed. Make sure you hair stay. I even double X-stay it. This is a collar. It's supposed to have some strength or rigidity. Okay, because of the fabric I'm working with, I have to double X-stay. That's 2 X-stays, 2 quality X-stays, because we have different kinds of X-stays. Some are so light. I mean 2 thick nylon estates. That is what I used right here. You can use cotton, you can use nylon, okay, but let it be a quality. All right, so you can see how I placed the collar right now. I placed it on the edge and secured with my pin in a way I can even sew on top of the pins. So from the line I had 1 inch or 1.25. In fact, 1.25 is okay, so we have enough to turn that part. So from this point, this line, I'm going to measure half an inch. From here, half an inch. That is where I'm going to start my sewing from. And from here, you can see how I place my tape, another half an inch. So I'm starting my sewing from this cardinal point. I'll take it again. From here, I came in by half an inch, and from here I came in by half an inch. So wherever this line and this line meet, that is where I'm going to start my sewing. So I'm going to sew. Once I get to this point, okay, I'll cut off the excess I have. I don't want to cut so I don't miscut, okay. So I will sew down. Once I'm getting right here, I'll match it up with this and go in by half an inch, and make the same cardinal point before we proceed. So I'll start sewing now, and I'm sewing from that point, okay. So you can see that the point this line and this line meet, that's where I'm starting my sewing. So you have to sew exactly from that point, okay. You don't need to sew beyond that point. So I'm sewing at exactly 0.5 inch, okay, because everything we have from here to here is 2.5. So what we have from here to here should also be at 2.5. So if it's not at 2.5, it will be altering this design. So this neckline can actually be technical, so you need to be very careful when sewing it. So I'm sewing right now. So at this point, I'm going to sew into the back neckline. So I'll keep So I'm sewing exactly at 0.5. Please don't alter the 0.5 sewing. So I'm sewing it in right now. I'm sewing my collar into the neckline at 0.5. So as you are sewing this, make sure you match up. You can see me matching up. So I'm getting to the end of it right now. So I'm arranging my collar to be sure it's not stepping on, it's not rumpling anywhere. So here I've gotten to the point, okay. So at this point, I'm going to also make another mark from my cardinal point. Okay, so it's possible you cut your collar at the actual length and do exactly this, but because I don't want to have a shortage, so from here I mark 0.5, okay, and from here I'll mark another 0.5. So I'm going to stop my sewing right here right now. So I'll just go down and stop my sewing at that point. You can see that. So we are done right now. So you can see our stitches right here, okay. So what I just did to make it easy for you to know where to stop and where to start your stitches is, from here I ruled 0.5 line. So if you look here, you see I have a line running all the way from this point, okay. So if I have to get my ruler right now, as it's laying right here, your stitches has to stop at 0.5. So I will advise after sewing or before sewing, okay, if you can pin and get this point, because that is the main point of this tutorial. So the 0.5 line has to start from here to there, and when you are sewing, you have to start sewing from that point. I believe my explanation is understandable. So here I'm going to cut the excess I have. Like I said, I didn't want to have a shortage, so I better start from one point and cut off the excess, as you can see me do. So the main purpose of this tutorial now is the cutting. That is what is going to give you a neat finishing. So we are going to raise up that point I told you. At this angle, I'm going to put a tiny snip to that point that the stitches stops. Can you see? And I'll also raise up the collar at this point, and I'll also cut. You can see how I cut it. I did not keep my hand straight to cut. I just made a tiny snip at an angle. You can see at an angle. You can see that. So that is what we are going to use to turn this. So at this point, you go over to your serger, your weaving machine, and weave it neatly before you do what I'm doing here. But for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm going to do this. Can you see? So I bring in this to this, okay? So I'm going to put this inside, as you can see right here, and then fold the tiny snip, okay? So this is it, and that is how it's being sewn. So here you can notice I wanted to make it in a way that it overlaps to this point, but due to expansion, because the fabric I'm working with, I felt it expanded, okay, because we are supposed to have this at the same 2.5, but because of the tiny snip we made right now, it had an expansion. So that means initially on the pattern, if you are making the pattern, okay, that's a little correction I want to make. If you are making the pattern and you have your collar at 2.5, your opening should be 2 inches divided by 2, that is 1 inch. So by the end of the day, you will not be having this excess. This is how this collar is supposed to be, okay? It's supposed to meet this, okay? So this excess we have here, we are not supposed to have it by right, so we miscalculated on the pattern, okay? I believe you understand what I'm talking about. So at that point we use 2.5. At that point we use 2.5. Please, you can use even 1.75, okay? So we don't have this here, but I'm still liking this design, okay? I'm still liking the effect we have at the end of the day. So I'm going to pin this part right now. I'm pinning everything together. So make sure you fold in the part that is covering, okay? So I fold it in. Okay, so I've secured it with my pin. So I'll go back to the machine. I'm going to raise it up. Can you see where I secured right now? Everything is being secured. I'm going to run a straight stitch right now to hold it down. Now it's time for us to hold down where we pin. So you need to make sure everything is tucked in. So you can see I made sure I tucked in everything perfectly, as you can see right here. So I will just raise it up now. I'm raising it up at the back. Can you see? So this is what you expected to have. This is the tiny snip we just made. So I'm going to follow that tiny snip line. Okay, so that should be the 0.5 inch. So I just push in my finger now since I'm holding it and take off that pin. Okay, so I don't step on it because I did not pin in a way. So I've taken it off. I did not pin in a way I can sew. So make sure you hold down the 0.5. So I'll back stitch and I'll sew exactly at the 0.5 to the next snip. Okay, and back stitch. So that is how to go about this beautiful neckline. So like I earlier said, we took 2.5. You can make it 2 inches or 1.75. so the 2 inches you are taking goes in. But if you want to go by this pattern, okay, I still love the way it crossed. I still like it the way it is. So this is it. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to top stitch round it. So I'm going to have a clean top stitching right round. That is if you wish. Some people might not want to top stitch. Okay, some people might want to top stitch. So it all depends on you. So why I'm top stitching is because of what we have right here. I want it to lay nice and flat. So I'm going to top stitch very neatly at the edge. Once I get to this point, I'll turn over this way. So in top stitching, all my seams are lying on the part of the dress this time. So I'm not rushing it. I'm just taking it easy. So if you feel you like the top stitching, you can go ahead and top stitch. But if you don't like the top stitching, you can just go and give it a good press. Okay, so I'm still looking at the top stitch to see if it's something I can continue with. So let me see how it goes, because the only thing that will relax it for you is the top stitching. Okay, but it has to be done neatly. Okay, so I'll keep top stitching. Okay, so I'm at the back neckline right now. So I'll keep taking my top stitches like that, like that. Okay, till I get back to where I started. So I'm back to where I started. I'll back stitch. Okay, so the next I will do now is to close up the sides of this dress. Okay, so this is what we have on the neckline, and it's actually looking nice and beautiful. So I'm going to give it a good press the way it is, serge the inside, sew the sides, as you can see, and that is how we'll come to the end of this tutorial. So if you are new to this channel, please kindly subscribe, turn on your notification bell to receive videos like this every day. Like this video, share to family and friends, drop your comments on the comment section and your suggestions as well. Thank you for coming. See you in the next one. Bye.